Hey everybody, welcome back to the farm. I'm almost done with the wagon, so I'll be showing you that here in the next couple of days. Been busy on the wagon, and I've been busy with these two girls back here, Miss Jean and Grace. Kind of tired, rain's coming in, but they're doing real good. But we have got some special visitors here at the farm. I don't know how Jean and Grace feel about them, but we have got 3 registered mares out here, and 2 of them are pregnant. So we'll walk over here to see these new girls, and I'll tell you the story about them. Jean is not gonna let me go anywhere without her. Grace is always in tow. They're super sweet. You better? You better? So yesterday, these 3 mares were delivered. This mare right here is Posey, and she is not pregnant. Registered. She's been passed around by a few people and was lastly used in a hobby logging operation up in Pennsylvania, but the guy that got her because of her incredible bloodlines. And she has had 2 foals since he has had her, but she is currently open. And then over here, we have some world champions. This is Destiny, and Destiny was number 8 in the worlds in the cart class. She is pregnant. They're all 3 17-3 18 hands. This is Felicity. She was the wheel horse in a 6 hitch at the Worlds. I don't know where they came in, but she is pregnant as well. So the deal with these girls is that they are staying here for the summer. They are 8 and 9 years old. This is Felicity again. They are 8 and 9 years old, and their father, the owner, has 5 other registered horses, and he went up to Vermont to compete for the summer and then be in the Worlds whenever the Worlds are. I don't keep up with all that, so I don't know what all the dates are. So he needed a place to keep these girls for the summer while he was up there competing and going to Worlds. So he has got 5 up there in Vermont with him. He just left today. These girls got here yesterday. And in return for me keeping them here, he is going to breed Jean and Grace next spring with his stallion, which is Felicity's son. And he is a Titan, so they will breed my girls next spring. So basically what we're doing is, like I said, we're bartering the breeding. So he is not a veterinarian. However, he is school trained in ultrasound and in artificial insemination and collecting stallions. So he has all of that equipment. He has his own ultrasound. A lot of times he does ultrasounds for the vets. and helps them out in a pinch. And he has all the equipment to collect, and he can microscope and get a semen count, and he can do artificial insemination and all of that. So again, this is Posey, and she is open. He has gotten 2 foals off of her, but he artificially inseminated Felicity because the stud is her son. That was too close to breed. But Titan bred Destiny. And so they are both about 20 days pregnant. So they're brand new pregnant. But the deal is that I will take my mares to his farm, which is 2.5 hours south. I will take my mares to him in the spring, and then he will ultrasound them and kind of get them dialed in. He will bring his stallion Titan in and tease them, and then he'll get Titan to jump on a dummy, and he will collect Titan, and then he will immediately take that sperm and put it into a pipette and then artificially inseminate my girls to keep, damage to all involved at a minimum. And then he will keep them down there for 14 to 16 days and do a pregnancy check with an ultrasound. And then if they are pregnant, then I will collect them, bring them home. And if they're not pregnant, then he will breed them again. Typically what happens is you take them to the breeder, they will breed on day 1, and then they'll typically breed again on day 3. And then you'll bring them home at the end of the week. They'll probably get bred, at least 2 times, maybe 3 times. And then you will take them to your vet in 14 to 16 days and see if they're bred, or see if they're pregnant rather. And if they are, then you're good. But if they're not, then you got to make another trip back down there to the breeder. So the way that it's going to work for me is I won't have to bring them home. I can just leave them there. And then he'll provide mare care and their feed and all that type of stuff like I'm doing for his up here. I'll be feeding them oats up here, but he brought me Strategy because that's what they're on. But he wants them on oats, but he just hasn't taken the time to transition them over to oats. So I'm slowly transitioning them, so when he comes back at the end of the summer, they'll be on oats completely. So breeding can get pretty pricey. Ultrasounds are $75 each. You got 2 horses, so that's, $150. You have to do a couple of ultrasounds to dial them in so that when they're within 24 to 36 hours of ovulating, because you don't want to just take them down there prematurely and have the stallion jumping on them and paying for mare care, because, mare care can be, $25, $35 a day. Plus the breeding, you're looking at, he charges $700 to breed, so, which is pretty expensive. But he's got some pretty incredible bloodlines, and I'm not really after the bloodlines. It's just that he's the closest breeder to me. And so, Raymond, my Amish buddy up in Ohio, charges $650. So he's not that far out of line, but he's got his stallion with him up in Vermont right now, and he's going to be showing him all this summer. And then, I don't know if he'll be in Worlds or not. I kind of doubt it, but the other horses will be. But anyway, what he's doing is he's just trying to win enough ribbons. And you guys that are out there that are in the show circuit, you understand that. I don't understand it, so I'm not speaking from knowledge. I'm just speaking from hearsay. But apparently if you take your horse out there and you win all kinds of blue ribbons and stuff, and you show what your horse is capable of, and they can see him move and see his conformation and that type of stuff, you can end up charging a lot more for breeding, and a lot more people are interested in getting your stallion's bloodlines and that type of stuff. So that's why the summer tour of his stallion, that's what that purpose is. I offered to let him keep his horses here, and that all came about from Orla, my Amish farrier from Indiana. He came down here and was telling me that that John, as his name, was going up north. And I told him that I had spoken to him and that he was going to breed my mares next spring when they're 4 years old. And he told me that he wasn't taking these 3 mares, but he was having difficulty finding a place to keep them. And he had found a place to keep them, but the guy was real sketchy. I won't go into any details, but the guy was real sketchy. So John didn't feel comfortable leaving him there. And then he was going to leave him at a Belgian farm that's about 30 minutes from here, but the guy just didn't have enough pasture for him. I think he's got 9 Belgians over there, but he just didn't have enough pasture for him. And since Jewel and Becky just left, I've got all of this and then some, and I had plenty of room, so I offered. And then I kind of threw in, why don't we just barter the breeding next season? I'll keep them for the summer, and you breed and you do the mare care down there. Keep them down there and ensure that they're pregnant. So we just kind of, a gentleman's agreement, and that's the way it was. And he brought them up here, and these are some pretty high dollar horses. And so he left them here for me to watch over for the summer. So, and gave me the green light to drive him if I wanted to drive him as well. Posey was a breaking horse, supposedly in a previous life. And so he said if I needed to, I could put Jean and Grace with Posey and drive them as a team. So that was pretty good. And Posey, though, needs a shoeing stock, and I do not have a shoeing stock. So she has got issues with her feet, and it comes from previous owners, and I'm not sure exactly what it is, but he is going to come back down here from Vermont in a month, and then he is going to bring his Yoder shoeing stock over here and drop it off, so that when Orla, my Amish farrier, comes back on July 18th, it will be here when he gets here. So I'm pretty excited about the bartering system and getting the girls bred for the next season. So they'll foal when they're 5 years old if everything goes right, which is still 2 years away, but you know how fast 2 years goes. So Jean and Grace are over here in paddock 3, and then they're over there in paddock 2, so they're separated by the fence, which is electrified. I had them out in paddock 1 up by the street, but I didn't want them in paddock 1. I wanted them off the street a little bit, just for the first 48, 72 hours, so that they could get used to sights and sounds and all that type of stuff. And I'm kind of just letting them get acquainted with smells and that type of stuff without them actually being in the same paddock, because there's so much estrogen in the air with these 5 mares and 2 of them being pregnant, and Jean right here, trying to be the alpha, and then one of them over there is trying to be the alpha. They're bucking and kicking and biting and pissing on each other and that type of stuff. So figured we'd leave them separated for 48 hours or so and just let them kind of kiss each other over the fence, and we'll try to introduce them tomorrow. But these girls are doing real good. The sun has gone in now, but Jean is dappling out really well for a black Percheron. Let me see if I can get her other side. Like I said, the sun isn't out right now, but you can see a little bit of it right there, but she's really pretty. Grace is not dappling out yet. She has always been 6 months or so behind her sister as far as development, as far as her hair and her growth and everything. So, she lost her baby fur, and then she lost hers, but again, 6 months before her. So we'll just let these girls eat over here and let them hang out. And then we'll introduce them tomorrow. So I'll go put some water in their water trough up here before the rain gets here, and then I'll head out. And just a few minutes ago, I found a mature male red-tailed hawk out in the pasture, and I walked up on him, and he ended up having a broken wing. So I picked him up and I took him outside the pasture so the horses didn't get on him or he didn't spook the horses or foot the horses or anything like that. And I was trying to make some phone calls to the vet to get him to somebody. He had clearly a broken wing. The bone was sticking out and his keel was a little bit sharp, so he hadn't eaten in a couple of days. But he was a very nice, mature male. And I took him outside and put him outside the pasture, and he scurried off into the back pasture, and I think he scurried off into the woods. And by the time I got a return phone call, I no longer knew where he was. I thought he was just going to stay in that location, but I think he wanted to get into the shade, and I've looked for him for about 30 minutes and I can't find him anywhere. So unfortunately, I think it's gonna succumb to Mother Nature. All right, the rain's coming down. I'm getting soaking wet, so I'm gonna cut it short. Be looking for the wagon video in the next day or so, and then the girls will be driving after that. So remember who you are. Be kind to those around you, and stand up for what you believe in.